Hi, everyone, and welcome to the AI InterConnect podcast, where we speak with innovators shaping the future of real estate, finance, and technology. And I'm your host, Lauren, and today I'm joined by Henry Mbugua, the CEO of Umba, a digital banking platform building modern financial tools for emerging markets. Henry, great to have you on the show. Very happy to have you here.
Thank you, Laurent, and great to be here.
Wonderful. We are in West Africa, East Africa. We are in Kenya, no,
Precisely, and the city of Nairobi.
in Nairobi. Fantastic. First time. Then you're first. Before we dive into the business, I'd love to start with your own journey. Let's rewind a little. What first pulled you into the world of fintech? What's your what's the backstory that eventually led you to build Humba?
All right, great. Thank you for that. Interestingly, I always imagined myself as a hotelier. I never set out from the beginning to be a banker. My background, the first thing that I did in college was actually things that concerns, food. You know, and I did have a small stint in the hotel industry. But whilst I was still there, I still had this nagging feeling in my, in my heart that that was not yet it. I'd gotten to the hotel, to the hotel industry, what I've always imagined myself doing, but I always felt that nudge and that nagging feeling that that was not it. So an interesting opportunity came up way back in 2005. I think that's when I started my banking career. So it's been 20 years of experience in this industry. So I got an opportunity to join then Equity Bank. Then it was called Equity Building Society. It was still a very small bank, not yet into the formal or what you'd call the formal banking industry. So I got an opportunity to join them, and I started my career as a clerk, what currently known in Kenya as cashiers. So by the time I was there for 3 years, found myself in the credit department. Has actually got stuck in the credit department. That's actually what I've been doing for the last. I've always been in the last around 15 years. I've always been either credit or the finance end. So I found myself stuck in that end. I actually loved it. So left Equity Bank when actually the bank transitioned into the formal banking space. Joined at that particular time, it was the largest asset-backed financing bank, that is NIC. Then I did several years in NIC before going again to a smaller bank. And then after that, I decided to try out what you call the non-bank financial institution. Actually, that's when I came now face to face with what you'd call a fintech. So for around 9 years, I was in the non-bank financial institution, because I always felt that there's a different way of doing credit. When you look at the way banks do credit or what you call traditional model, it's always been, how would I say, so paper driven. And by paper driven, I mean, you're looking at the credit history. But I always felt that there is a way that you can actually credit is so huge, and I got that opportunity when when I left banking and I joined what you call non-bank finance institution. So that's where I have been for the last 9 years before now again coming back to Umba. But the beauty with Umba is building on what I was doing in the non-bank finance institution. So that has actually been my journey.
Wow. Okay. You're a banker, of course, to begin with. When you look back at the early days of building Humba, what was one of the hardest or most unexpected challenges you faced?
That's a great question. The thing is, we're still in that problem. I don't think we quite come out of it. And it's because when you look at banking in Kenya, the traditional model is quite entrenched. By traditional model, I mean the brick and mortar. People are still used to the brick and mortar model. And they still need to see their bank manager. They still need to see their teller. They still need to see their bank officer. And our model is no brick and mortar. It's purely digital first. So trying to educate and convince customers they can actually we actually a formal bank, because that has always been the biggest query. Are you really a bank? So where are you? Where are your offices? So trying to educate people and bring them to now this new model of digital first. I would say it's a journey that we're still in this journey. We're not quite out of it, but you're still in that journey.
Yes, of course, of course. This is innovation, digital bank. But were there any moment you thought the model was not, I mean, wouldn't work, or or where a pivot became necessary?
One of the things that we've done is that we are fast learners. And one of the biggest lessons that we've learned is that people are not just looking for tech. And that's the biggest misconception that a digital fast bank can have, thinking that what people are looking for is actually tech. People are not looking for tech. They want trust and they want simplicity. So we had to think, how do we then marry tech, trust, and simplicity? That has actually been one of the biggest challenges that we faced. And we had to pivot fast. You know, we had to pivot fast and ensure that our offering out there to the customer is not just they're not really interacting with the machine. We had to bring in that human part of it. As much as we are riding on tech, we had to marry the people and the tech together. So we actually had there's some tough decisions that we had to make in terms of ensuring that we have people that not necessarily open in banking, not necessarily going to having a brick and mortar model, but ensuring that we have our people on the ground that can actually now interact with our customers directly.
Okay, perfect. Then let's shift gear to Humba today. For someone who's never used your platform, what does Humba actually do exactly?
So what we're currently doing in Umba is you're solving one big problem, that is access. That is all that you're doing in Umba. When you think about Umba, you think about access. So when you look at Africans, or which Kenya is part of Africa, but when you look at our industry or our market currently, is you'd find that millions of Africa still struggle to borrow, they struggle to save, and they struggle to transact easily. So that is all that you are trying to change. You are changing that by building a simple, affordable digital bank. One that works from your phone anytime, anywhere. Simply, that's what Umba is doing.
Yeah, definitely. You have focused heavily on mobile first users and the banked population in Africa. What makes this audience so important and how do you reach them?
Now, we are a purely SME. So there are two categories that we target currently. What is called MSME, that is medium, small, micro enterprises. So you're talking about your typical, these are your typical merchants that are transacting anything between $100 to $1,000 per day, right? Then you also what we found with that particular category is that they seem to be underbanked, and by underbanked I mean it is not that they don't have an account. They would have typically maybe one bank account, but they're not utilizing that bank account. So you find that they have several other players, someone else that is offering maybe a payment platform, someone else that is offering the credit, addressing their credit needs. So as Umba, what we've tried to do is to offer those services that this particular merchant will need on a day-to-day to run his business. We bring them under one roof. So meaning that this particular underserved customer is actually now brought into what you'd call the formal banking end, right? Because he doesn't need to be using so many players. And what you found that is the many players they use, the more expensive it becomes, right? So we give a solution whereby all this can actually be found under one roof. Then we have another segment that we call so we have the underbanked and we have the unbanked. And for the unbanked, for one reason is maybe because the brick and mortar model is what the traditional model that the formal banking sector in Kenya has used. And so If a bank does not find a particular area to be lucrative enough, they won't open a branch. And so it means that all those people that operate within that region would either need to travel far to be able to access a form of banking, a form of bank, right? Or completely be closed out of the formal banking sector. So with our model, we are able to reach those people because we don't need to have a brick and mortar. So you're able to reach those people that are in those flag-farming areas, those areas that the traditional model would consider not to be lucrative. We are able to offer them services. So that's what as Umba we seek to do.
Wow, I love it. And you have also developed your own lending engine and credit scoring models. Can you share a bit about how you have approached that?
We use we've married AI and machine learning to build our credit and our credit decisioning tools. So AI has actually been a real game changer to Umba and the model that we use because the tool helps us to score the unbanked and the underbanked, as I've said, right? We move beyond what you'll call history. Right now, when you think about, for example, accessing a credit facility in the traditional banking model, they would rely mostly on your existing history. So they will ask you about your bank statement. How have you been transacting? Now, when you're talking about the unbanked and underbanked, they may not have this credit history. So we actually use AI because AI is able to move beyond the history to look at how people spend, how people save, and even their income flows. So AI is able to use real-time behaviors, not just credit histories. And that's basically what you're doing. So we've married AI and machine learning to be able to score these customers. And we've not only been able to score these customers that were previously underbanked and unbanked, but we've also been able to stop fraud. We've been able also to be compliant because you're operating in an environment where compliance is key. So using AI, we've actually been able to marry the issues of compliance to be seamless.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, you're using AI. Unbelievable. I mean, no, everybody's using AI, but the way you're doing it is very different. Then let's move to the industry in general. What are the biggest shifts you are seeing in fintech and mobile banking space, especially in market like in Kenya and Nigeria?
Right. So it's the industry is actually moving very fast. That's actually something that we've noted, especially in Kenya. We operate in arguably the two biggest markets in Africa, Nigeria and Kenya, and also the two biggest markets when it comes to technology adoption, Kenya and Nigeria. So what we've found is that the industry is actually moving very fast. So we've seen a huge shift towards personalized and data-driven banking. You know, as I've said, moving away from credit history to using real-time behavior. We've seen the adoption of technology and tools to be able to offer feedback on how people spend, feedback on how people save, even feedback on how people use their day-to-day income, And another thing that we've seen in terms of the industry trends is that because of this fast move or the fact that the industry is moving fast, you've actually also seen regulator becoming quite interested in this particular industry. So the regulator is also catching up fast, And like before, we've seen the regulator being more open now to fintech innovation. That was something that was not there before. But of course, now with that openness to fintech innovation, what you've also seen come into play is that there are tighter rules and tighter rules on issues regarding data fairness, so regarding data and of course consumer protection. And then the other thing that you've also seen happen in this particular industry is that the customers are also becoming more aware, right? So we've seen customers that are becoming more smarter. They do not only expect transparency, but they are also demanding for, instant services and queries being asked in terms of the value for every shilling they are spending.
Yeah, no, definitely. Everything is moving so fast. And are you saying and you mentioned it a little bit. Are you saying a greater regulatory complexity or opportunity as more fintech scales?
I think it's an opportunity to. It's a double-edged sword when you look at it. But I would say, from Umba's perspective, I think it's an opportunity for us to collaborate and work with the regulators, right? Because what we've seen is that the fact that it's an industry that is moving fast and is also growing, it also means that it's bringing many other players into it. Not everyone has the same vision. There are some people that maybe are looking for that quick buck. They are not looking for sustainability. And when you have new entrants that comes into the industry and the vision is divorced from what the other players are trying to solve, then issues in terms of predatory no predatory nature of running business comes into play. So let me tell you what I mean by that. There's been a lot of outcry, I think 2-3 years ago, in terms of how digital lending is being done in Kenya. You know, customers crying and saying that majority of the players that comes into the market are mostly coming in with predatory tendencies, not to offer solution from a point of, giving the unbanked and other bank, bringing into the formal financial sector, or bringing into, that they can actually now be able to trade or to transact directly with a bank, but more or less they are looking at that quick back. That has brought in friction between the regulators and the digital lenders. So what I said is that when, as Umba, we look at it as an opportunity to collaborate with these regulators. We want to be the ones that regulator can come to, and we look at the industry and we together make regulations that serves both the customers and serve both the digital fast banks or whatever innovations that the digital lenders are trying to introduce to the market. Because if then we divorce ourselves from these discussions, what the regulations will mean is that the regulations will purely be driven from one angle, and that would mean that we would find ourselves in a scenario whereby the business become quite difficult to run. So we find all these issues of regulations, we don't find it as pain per se, but we find it as an opportunity to actually collaborate with these regulators to be the one that are sitting on the regulators and even offering solutions.
That's very smart. From your view, is the African fintech ecosystem moving towards more partnership or more fragmentation?
Our bet now is on embedded finance. And by embedded financing, basically what I mean is that you're letting other businesses plug into your existing system so that you can serve the customers better. Times are long gone where one entity could claim that they own the customer. As I've said, customers right now have caught up. We have customers that are very smart, customers that are demanding value for their money. So you can't really say that you own a particular customer. So when you look at it, then you have to look at other players in the market and look at your advantage or whatever, or what you've been able to develop, like what you've developed as Umba, and look at other players in the market that we can collaborate with, right? By allowing them to ride on our existing platform to be able to serve our mutual customers. And definitely, you know what that means, Lauren? It means that you're able to offer value because that service that would have costed customers so much when it's fragmented, it means that a customer can make just one payment.
View is the African fintech ecosystem moving towards more partnership or more fragmentation?
Thank you for that, Laurent. I would actually say more partnership. Long are the days that one player could say that they own a customer. So I would say in Umba currently we are betting more on embedded financing. And what I mean by embedded financing is letting other business to plug into our existing ecosystem so that we can serve our mutual customers better.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I like to deep into and talk about AI, and you mentioned it a little bit. Where do you see real opportunities for AI inside platform like Umba?
All right. I'll basically speak to what we've been able to do currently. Actually, I can give you an example of what we currently quite excited about. We've just launched what you call our AI bot or AI bot, right? So we're calling it Umba AI bot. And what we've seen is we've seen a massive, strong adoption and engagement actually. And what that has done, it has transformed how we interact with how our users interact with our services. As Umba, we've not only been able to automate our support, which was not there before, we've been able to improve our response time, and we've been able to improve our product engagement. And we've seen quite impressive early usage metrics. Just to give you numbers, is that in our first year of launch, we actually saw the numbers moving from the numbers that we saw on that particular day of launch was 24,639. And that was an improvement from a very low number of around 2,515. And we also saw that translating into real-time business. So when you look at AI, it's helping us to increase our reach to our customers. It's helping us to automate our services that previously were manual, and it has helped us to improve our response time. That said, there is also the other bit of the credit scoring. I would say arguably right now we've been able to, we are able to give a response, a quick response within less than 5 minutes. Our customers have approval letters with them, and they don't even need to be somewhere closer to the bank. With AI, it means that they can still from their phones download the approval letters, sign them, upload them, and at the comfort of their office, at the comfort of their homes, at the comfort of their businesses, get a loan disbursement done. That was something that was not there before. So when you look at it, AI from what we've been able to achieve with AI as Umba, it's
Yeah, that's very interesting, and that's on the customer side.
yes.
Are there areas you have tested or are exploring, like fraud detection, writing, or maybe compliance?
Right. So I've just touched on underwriting, and in terms of underwriting, is the fact that you're able to give quick decisions to our customers. What we've also done with AI, it's helped us in terms of spotting our risk early. Because I've said we're moving beyond credit history to even looking at the customer patterns. Things that previously could not have been obvious when you use the old credit model. Right now with AI, we are able to spot risk early. And with that, you're also able to tailor make our products. You're able to tailor make our credit. What you used to have before is that when you look at traditional banking model, always used to have a same size fit kind of a service. So you have Laurent, you have Henry, and then we will all be forced to fit into what the bank is offering. But with AI, we're actually able to look at the context. Each and every customer is treated differently because you're able to get, we have different data points that you're collecting data from, that we are collecting feedback from. And so we can be able to offer to our customers a product that is best suit their needs, as opposed to what you before or what banks used to have before of same size fit model. And then what AI has also helped us to do, it's also helping us to predict repayment. And with that, we are able to structure different repayment models for our different customers. Let me give you an example, Laurent. We could be operating in the same segment. You could be operating in the same areas, but in terms of our cash flow, in terms of our payment flows, they are very different, right? But if I'm to rely on the old model, the old banking model, I would be forced to give both Laurent and Henry operating in the same environment or operating in the same business segment, the same repayment structure, not taking into consideration that their payment flow are different. Now, with AI, what we've been able to do is that with the capability to predict the repayment patterns for different customers, we are able now to structure the repayment to suit their payment flow. And also that what has happened, what that means is that on the flip side, on the other end, it has also helped us to improve our what I call, it's escaping me, portfolio at risk. Yes, that was the word that I was looking for. Portfolio at risk. We actually have a very good portfolio at risk. And you are targeting what banks would mostly, or what banks mostly classified to be the risky segment.
Okay, that's great. Where do you personally draw the line between automation and the human involvement in financial service?
All right. I would say two areas, right? When you look at banking, there will always be decision that needs human touch. So you can't really divorce human touch from banking. For example, you can't automate empathy. Remember, you're dealing with human, right? So you can't automate empathy. And the other thing that you can't automate judgment. So those are the two key areas. Remember, when we started, I told you of the need. We felt there was a need to not necessarily have brick and mortar where our customers are based, but to have some of our staff that are domiciled in those areas so that they can better interact with our customers. And purely that's what you're trying to do. You are bringing that bit of empathy. We are bringing that bit of judgment, because when you look at a customer, and especially when businesses go wrong, you need to look at the context. AI, unfortunately, cannot be able to provide that context. That judgment will be missing. You still need to bring the human touch to it, right? Looking at the business and understanding that the business always have cycles. AI cannot be able to automate that. That will need a human to basically look at it and understand these particular cycles, and also bring that empathy when you're dealing with customers. So I would say that as much as AI has helped us to score the unbanked, it has helped us to score the underbanked. AI, as I've said before, it helped us in terms of detect fraud in seconds. It has helped us in compliance. Now our compliance are seamless, spotting risk early, tailor making the repayment structures. Two areas that will still need human intervention is on that bit of empathy and providing context when it comes to dealing with our customers.
Yeah, damn, that makes sense. No, definitely. Very good answer. I mean, let's move on to every founders faces pushback and pressure. What has been most difficult for you over the past 12 to 18 months?
So, there's always this thing that they say that as a person running the business, you more or less carry the business in your head. You know what, you carry the vision in your head, trying to disseminate that vision to the team members that you need to work with. That can actually be a challenge, and especially when you bring in something that is new in the industry, something that has not been done before. We humans tends to be habits of or creatures of habits, so that bit of trying to bring in to create a team that can buy into your vision and run with it, that can actually be a challenge. And I found most business leaders, I found it to be quite one of the areas that business leaders find it to be challenging. But what we tried in Umba is that we invest big time in terms of training our staffs, and we also let the staff be the one to, as much as we know this is a vision that we have, this is what we intend to achieve, we also want the staff to be the one to determine how the ship will sail. Okay, so that has helped in a bit. The other bit has also been, as I started by saying, is from the regulator's end, especially when you're bringing something new in the market. Anything new, especially on the finance sector, will always be looked at first from the risky eyes. This is a risky thing that is coming to the market. So when you have a regulator that is looking at it, they are mostly looking at it from a point of what can go wrong, instead of what is this new thing that is coming and how can we accelerate, how can we help the adoption of this new thing, whilst at the same time addressing the risks. So I would say those are the two key problems or the two key challenges that we faced as Umba.
Yeah, definitely. I like this, and it makes a lot of sense. What is also something you underestimated when scaling across markets?
So I started by mentioning this is that the biggest misconception that you can have when you bring in something new into the market, and especially when it's tech-based, is to think that tech is all that your customers are looking for. So as I told you earlier, is that the biggest misconception that we had was to assume that our tech is going to solve everything, right? And when you go to the market, you actually realize that the two areas that the two things that were critical to a customer was basically first, as I said, trust, and the second one, simplicity. Right? So how do you then look at how do you then dissect, or how do you bring down this solution that you have that is tech-based in a simple manner that any user can use, right? And in a simple manner that any person can trust. The other thing is that with tech, people always tend to look at it from, there are always trust issues in terms of, it can be hard. Someone would actually be more comfortable going to the bank. And I think that's the reason as to why brick and mortar has been entrenched so much in the country, is because someone actually want to go to the bank and say, oh, my money is there, so my money is safe. But here you are as Umba, you're telling them that you can actually transact with Umba without necessarily having to come to where we are domiciled, because we happen to have one branch where it serves as our head office without necessarily coming to see where Umba is. So that was actually our biggest misconception when you're starting. That what customers were looking for was basically tech, and so we were forced to actually come back to the drawing board. As I told you, we never intended to have a white team or of a very big team. We always intended to have a lean team, and have a lot of this decision, a lot of these flows automated. But we realized that we also needed to be where the customers are. So that basically meant that we needed to expand our staff team to be able to reach our customers, and so that we can have that face-to-face interaction.
Definitely. How do you approach investor conversation or partnerships when you're operating in markets many don't fully understand?
We've been lucky as Umba, I would say, to have very understanding partners. I wouldn't say that we've faced a lot of issues when it comes to partners and our investors. The only thing that we need to balance is the returns that the investors are looking at. The investors may be looking at quick returns. When you do look at model, it's a model that needs to be given time to mature. So we've not faced a lot of issues in terms of investors. We've not faced a lot of issues in terms of our partners, but just trying to manage their expectations. I would say that, and that's an ongoing engagement.
Yeah, no, definitely. Okay, so looking ahead to 2026, what are you most focused on?
Right. 2026 is actually going to be big for us. The reason some say it's going to be big for us is because we are excited about the new virtual asset service providers bill. That has just been recently approved. For a very long time, Kenya never used to have regulations around cryptos. But now with with the bill that has just been passed, it allows now banks to come into this bit of crypto that has for a very long time been looked at with very strange eyes when you talk about crypto in the country. So as Umba, we looking to trade more into the stablecoin bit of it. So this particular bill, what it has done is that it has opened a door for regulated digital payments and cross-border flows. And that is a key area that we are looking to participate in 2026 and beyond. Because currently what you're doing is that we are building payment flow solutions that connect both the traditional finance with the new digital economy.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And Are there any new products or markets or type of user Umba is aiming to serve in this next stage or next phase?
I would say the same product that I've mentioned about the biggest the part that or the biggest service that we want to formulate that we want to offer right now is we are taking a step towards now the regulated seamless digital payment. So this is basically, I would say this is our key product that we are looking to offer in 2026 and beyond. Yeah. So a seamless digital payment platform. So we are looking at offering our or to help we are looking at helping our businesses, our consumers to be able to move their payment faster, to be able to move their payment in a safer way, and also in a way much cheaper way, because what we found out is that they were disconnected. When you look at the payment or the payment flow, especially currently as they exist in the market, it's a bit fragmented. So using our trusted Umba or using our trusted Umba model. So we are looking at offering a solution that our customers, our and end consumers can move money in a faster way. They get value for money and almost being able to get same value for their money, same day value, which has been missing before. So that I would say, Laurent, is our biggest product or our biggest service that you're looking to formulate, and that is going to define Umba even 2026 and the years beyond.
Okay, great. And how do you see Umba's role evolving within the broader fintech ecosystem?
So we are looking more for opportunities for partnerships. We've come to a realization that whatever we are offering in the market cannot be done by Umba alone. And we've also realized that our customers, in a way, have been accessing the services that we've been giving them, but in a fragmented way and in a way that is not convenient to them. So what we are looking at moving forward is that you're looking at more opportunities for partnerships. As I've said, being able to offer our Umba platform to already even existing solutions, such that those solutions are not only being able those solutions are not only able to be offered faster, but in a much simpler and in a cheaper way to our customers.
Okay, great. Okay, let's wrap with a few quick fire questions. Just say what comes to mind. One app you can live without. You can't live without.
Sorry, I didn't get that, Laurent. It was a bit check.
One app you cannot live without.
What app?
One. ChatGPT.
Most probably I'll be someone who's kill me for this.
M-Pesa.
M-Pesa app.
Okay. What is this?
It's actually, Laurent, where have you don't know of M-Pesa? It's arguably currently one of the biggest payment flow solutions in Africa.
In Africa. Okay. Are they outside of Africa or only in Africa?
I know they have M-Pesa Global, but I don't have info as to how that works.
You got me on this one. I'm gonna check it out. I'm very curious. Bravo. You got me on this one. What's one piece of advice you will give your younger self before starting this journey?
Henry, allow yourself to make mistakes.
Yeah. Bravo. Okay. Wonderful. What's something people get wrong about African markets?
That Africa is still way behind when it comes to financial deepening and financial integration. You'll be surprised. There are a lot of financial solutions that are being offered. The only challenge is that they are quite fragmented.
Okay. Yeah, that's very, very, very interesting. And I would love to go deeper with this with you. Henry, this was a real pleasure. Your story, your clarity around Humba's mission, and the way you're thinking about AI and financial inclusion, it's really, really inspiring. Thank you for taking the time to join.
All right. Thank you, Laurent. And maybe something that you didn't know that this is my first podcast. So my first time doing a podcast. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that.
It was great. Where can people find your work, find you and your work and your team or your company?
Right.
Where do they get
All right.
on you?
So I'm in LinkedIn. I think that's a bigger social media account that I have currently. So you can find me. A full name is Henry Kevin Mbugua. You can also find Umba in the same LinkedIn. If you type Umba Microfinance Bank Kenya or Umba Kenya, you'll find more about Umba. You can also access Umba through our website. We currently actually updating our website, but you can interact with Umba through our website.
Okay. I got it. I'm with you. Can you hear me?
It's reconnecting.
No, I can see you.
Yes, I'm back now. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So as I was saying, you can interact with Umba through our website. And if you want to interact with Umba, even from a point of having an Umba account and being able to transact with Umba from end to end, you can go to Play Store or App Store or no.
Okay. Wonderful. I thank you again. It was great pleasure to have you, full of insights, and the company looks amazing. And thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Lauren, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. And that's it for today's episode of AI InterConnect podcast. If you enjoyed it, share it with someone who is building the future, or better yet, someone who should be. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and keep building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.